Hey everybody, hope you're doing well. This week's video is something very, very different and something I'm not really used to on this channel. So last week, I finally crossed the milestone of 10,000 subscribers, which is just nuts to me. It's only been about a year and a half. We're coming up on 2 years this summer for the channel. And just the growth and this community and the people within it, it blows me away that people want to watch my videos, whether it's Life is Strange or other content. I'm just incredibly thankful, and it hit me today when looking through the questions and picking them out for the videos that there's so many people, individuals out there who actually watch my stuff when I don't know, it's just a incredible thing that's hard to grasp, because this is something I never thought I would actually do. Like this was a fun thing I started out, and now it's like growing into something that could be more. So as a celebration and a thank you, I decided to do a Q&A. I don't ever really get personal on this channel, so I figured a Q&A where I could answer some of your questions about me would be fun and something a little different to do. Now, I won't be listing the usernames of the people who asked questions here on YouTube, as well as over on my Instagram, which I recommend you follow because I'm way more active on there than my other social medias like Twitter. Like, I check Twitter maybe once a month. But I'll just be going over the questions. So the first question I got is, how are you doing? I'm doing pretty well, thank you. I'm going to be graduating soon. I am going to be moving out of this dorm back into my home where I've got a much better sound setup, so I'm looking forward to that. Also, Life is Strange Reunion comes out next week, which is just crazy, and I know that's going to bring a lot of traffic and really rile up this community, so I'm very excited to see how that goes. The second question I'll be answering is, how do you pronounce your channel's name? So the channel's name is pronounced Noer. It comes from a nickname I got because my name is Noah, and one of my friends just started putting ER at the end of people's names. So he was Timor and things like that. So I became Noer for a time, and it just kind of stuck. And I decided to use that as a channel name because I couldn't really think of anything else. This next question, I will actually show off this person's username. I've had some great interactions with them. They create great content on YouTube and are also like up and coming like me. So please go check them out. But Eric Dixon asks, what compelled you to start making videos? So the funny thing in that video is my hair is super long. And if you've been around for a while, you've seen my hair fluctuate in length over time and things like that, because I enjoy having shorter hair now, but I also like having the longer hair. At that point, the reason it was so long is because I was actually working on a TV show that required me to have longer, more unkempt hair. It was a period piece, or at least the section that I was a part of. I was a background actor. You may have seen me in it. I'll circle back to this because there's a question related to acting and that kind of thing, because I've alluded to my history with that. But the point is, I don't know what it was. I think just between Double Exposure coming out, and I may have seen a video or post about an alternate ending of Life is Strange 1, and it made me consider, oh, what other cut content is there actually? And that just led me down a rabbit hole, and I realized nobody had made deep dive lore kind of content on Life is Strange like I had seen with other games. In Fallout, you have entire hour-long videos talking about, you know, every NPC in this section of the game or things like that. But you didn't really have that for a big portion of other games that have deep lore and mysteries to them. And so those two things combined, I felt like I had an opportunity to just, you know, put myself out there, make a video and see how it does. And that video worked out very, very well, and it blew me away. And that's when I decided, like, hey, there's an audience for this. There's people like me out there who love these games and love that kind of information about games. I was just like, okay, I have the time to do this between, you know, working on set, as between the job I was holding down at a supermarket and then building up to when I was going to start working on that set. It just kind of worked out because I figured there's no reason not to. And then ever since then, I've just kept up with the weekly uploads, because you don't really realize how much time you have in a week until you really use it. And you're like, wow, I've accomplished so much between my schoolwork, my job, and then my hobbies. So I also think YouTube has put me into a good routine where I've been able to improve myself by having a strict routine of, okay, I got to do this work and then I got to edit and then I have to do this, blah, blah, blah. So really it's a mixture of things. I do this for you guys because people enjoy it, and seeing there's an audience, that's certainly part of it. But then the other part of it is for me because I just love to do this and I love to do the research. It doesn't feel like work to me because it's a series and genre of content that I love. This next question is, how did you discover Life is Strange? So I discovered Life is Strange probably about when everyone else did. I remember vividly watching Jacksepticeye make a series on it, and then after that I watched Game Theory when they had GT Live. I watched them play through the entire game when it first came out. But back then I wasn't like super into it as much as I am now. Of course there was only one game, but like it was good. I just didn't pay that much attention to it. Part of that is because I may have been a little on the young side to fully understand aspects of it, and parts of myself that I hadn't discovered yet, parts that now that I know about myself, I'm able to relate to characters more and their struggles. What really got me into like playing the series, I believe when Before the Storm was announced, I got into it. I finally had like a next generation console. I had just moved to a new place and I didn't have many friends at the time, and I was kind of getting picked on in school and like struggling to socialize. Even though I'm very outgoing, people kind of took advantage of that at times because I was kind of naive. So being in this new place, and this game comes out about a character who's close to me in age and has those similar issues, I don't know, it really hooked me. And I went back and I played the first game. I played the demo on my Xbox for free, and then I bought that game as soon as it came out. And, you know, the rest is history. I just fell in love with these characters all over again. And that's what really hooked me into the series. So really, to summarize, moving, being a loser, and then rediscovering a game series about losers helped me. So this next question is, narratively, which do you think should be played first? Life is Strange or Life is Strange Before the Storm? This may come down to my bias towards Before the Storm because I really enjoy Before the Storm. As I've mentioned countless times on this channel, I have an affinity for it because of when I played it and the age I was and what I was discovering about myself and the story within the game. So of course I would like to say that one first, but more objectively, it can go either way. Because on one hand, I think playing Before the Storm first helps you empathize with Chloe way more. It's very easy to fall into the trap of, well, Chloe's just an asshole when you're playing Life is Strange 1 and kind of feeling a disconnect with her. But when you play Before the Storm, you learn more about her and you can understand on another level the loss she's been through and how it's difficult for her to process that, which leads her to acting out in these selfish ways because she's afraid of losing what little she has left. So I think that's a very important thing. The other thing is, it comes down to opinion again, but I like that you know Rachel more. Then you, in theory, you care more about who this person is, and as you learn more about her, uncovering the mystery of who she is, the things she was doing in Life is Strange 1, it has more of an impact because you've seen her and Chloe grow and change. Now, the flip side to that argument is that Rachel is heavily inspired by Laura Palmer, a character from Twin Peaks. In the show, she vanishes, and people think they knew her. She was seeing someone, but then he finds out she was cheating, and there's like all these things about Laura that you never knew that just unravel throughout the show. And she's not this perfect girl that people thought she was. And that's a very clear thing they do in Life is Strange with Rachel because you learn more about her relationship with Frank, her relationship with Mr. Jefferson, things like that. When I would show people the games, it kind of went back and forth. Like when I played it with my sister, she played Life is Strange 1 and didn't really enjoy Before the Storm that much. She liked the supernatural element of Life is Strange 1, which it didn't have. But then another person I played through them both with, we played through them Before the Storm, then Life is Strange, and they loved it that way. So it's hard to say. In my opinion, Before the Storm, then Life is Strange. That's just me. Next question is, do you use or have any Polaroid/film cameras? In the background of my earlier videos, I have like my little setup on my desk, you know. In the background, you can see my Polaroid. That is a Polaroid 600 camera, similar to what Max starts off the game with. Mine has a red stripe on it because it's actually one that I had gotten on eBay, but I didn't realize it was from the UK originally. Those Polaroids had a red stripe on them rather than the rainbow that you had in the United States. And yes, I would shoot with them. It's just the film is so expensive that I don't do it very often. But I do have Polaroid photos that I've taken and that kind of thing. I do like film and cameras and that kind of thing. All right, this one's a little fun. If you were in Life is Strange and had a power, which power do you think you would have and why, based off of the ones that we know? This is something that has crossed my mind, especially discovering the series at such a young age. You kind of imagine yourself in the world and what you would do and things like that. Obviously, the coolest one is the time travel. That would be really cool, but it's also so destructive that I think I would get myself in trouble because, you know, I would be in class or in a social situation, I would say the wrong thing, and I'd be like, okay, rewind. Even though, like, I come across as an outgoing person, and I am an outgoing person, but, like, I definitely have a healthy anxiety of, like, oh, did I just make myself look like an idiot? Usually I'm able to hide it, though. But honestly, I think the power that may end up being the most useful is, other than telekinesis. Telekinesis is awesome because there's so many ways you can work around it, and I'm someone who can visualize things very easily, so I feel like that power would go very well with, like, the way my brain works. Being able to visualize, like, okay, how am I going to pick this up and rotate things and yada yada. Like, as a kid, I used to pretend I had, like, the Iron Man heads up display where he's, like, just, like, moving things around and, like, I could visualize it. It's silly. I think the one that I would have to settle on is one that got dogged on a lot, which is Alex's power from True Colors, this ability to read people's auras and almost read their minds to an extent. I think people kind of laughed at it because in the trailer they don't really expand on how, you know, she can basically read minds and she can also manipulate their emotions back at them, which is, like, cool, but also, like, a ton of power and you know, there's a lot of consequences that could come with that. Because I'm, like I said, very social person, and I'll talk to people in the elevator or as I'm walking to places, and the last thing I want to do is actually make them uncomfortable and bother them. So if I could, like, you know, use my little mind power to be like, okay, they don't want to be talked to right now, or, oh, that person's having a bad day, I'll compliment their shoes or something. That would be really useful. I think that's how I would end up using it. So I think in the end, I would have to do the emotions one that Alex has, because time travel, I would be using that for silly stuff, and it would end poorly. So, yeah. If you could enter a game's universe or setting, which one would you pick? That's tough, because on one hand, I would love to say Fallout, or like some sort of zombie survival thing, or whatever. But then, you know, if I'm in there, if I'm just a normal guy within Fallout, I'm going to get murdered. Like, I'm not going to survive very long because of the roving raiders and things like that. So that would definitely cross that off for me. I would love to be in a fantasy setting like Baldur's Gate, where you kind of have a mixture of, like, you have magic and you have all these different creatures and fantasy races and things like that. I think that would be a lot of fun because there is a solid societal structure there, so you can be safe and a normal person and not, you know, risk getting nuked. So yeah, basically I think I have to settle on something like Baldur's Gate or something like that, because I think it would be the mixture of, like, the most different, because I don't want to say something like Life is Strange where it's, like, basically the normal world and you've got a 1 in a million chance of, like, getting powers or encountering somebody with powers. I think it's a good balance between, like, there is still a society, but also there's still crazy adventures you can go on. That, or, as silly as it sounds, I love Planet of the Apes. I wouldn't mind running around as a chimpanzee. I mean, in Kingdom, there's one named Noah, and they have, like, their tribes and things like that, so wouldn't mind that either. So I got a lot of questions about what other franchises, what other games that I love outside of Life is Strange. I got a couple of different questions related to that, so I'm just going to go through some that I love and discuss them. I think I've made it clear that the Fallout franchise is just something I love so much. I hooked up my Xbox to the hotel's TV to play Fallout 4 way back when, so. And, like, it's just an incredible series, and whether it's the originals with that darker tone and the comedy that's a little more bleak, or the newer games with Fallout 4 and even 76, the improved gunplay. I love the multiplayer in 76. That's something I, like, consistently play. I'm one of those players that's, like, high level, and if I see a newbie, I'll, like, drop 1,000,000 supplies. So if you play the game and you've had that happen, who knows? It might have been me. Also, this is silly, but I love the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise. That's something that's very almost nostalgic for me because I remember being a kid when those games came out and, you know, getting them and those few months between each of the games and the theorizing and all that stuff. I think that and Fallout are what got me into theorizing and lore and content in the way that I am now. And my favorite Five Nights at Freddy's game is 2. I think 2 is the most fun, and I love the aesthetic of the new toys versus the withered animatronics and all that stuff. Another game that I love that I briefly played on the channel was Oxenfree. For a short time when I first started out, I made gameplay videos for Oxenfree, and those were uploaded in tandem with my lore videos that I was doing. But I realized that just in the state that the channel was at when I tried that, I knew I was expanding way too quickly and that I didn't have the audience or really the time to create one video that requires a whole script and then a whole gameplay video each week. It didn't really work out. And it's something I'd like to come back to, and I'm so sorry to the 3 people who comment asking for the next part of it. I'm so sorry. I do want to make a lore video out of it since I have finished it, and I really enjoyed it and I thought it was very well done. Night in the Woods is another just incredible game. I think that's a video that I need to remake because my sound was not good. I have soundproofed my dorm since the last year I was here, and it's still not great. It's better, but at the time it was really bad. But I love Night in the Woods. It's a game that was recommended by the friend who gave me the Noer nickname. It's a running joke that, you know, he has ADHD. He only likes games with guns and yada yada yada. But every once in a while, he will recommend a game to me that is so out of left field for him that I know it's a masterpiece. And when he told me to play Night in the Woods, I was skeptical. I was like, this game kept your attention the whole time? Like, you played through the whole thing? He's like, yes, it's so amazing. You gotta play it. And I did, and I was completely sucked into it. It was amazing, and it's a game I can't stop recommending to people. I'm also a fan of Far Cry to an extent. Now, this is a newer series that I've gotten into, admittedly, so maybe I'm a fake fan. My friend and I played Far Cry 5 together, and then we played Far Cry New Dawn. We're going to play 6 next. I have Far Cry 3. I need to get around to playing that, and I've played a little bit of 4 way, way back in the day, like when it came out. But I really enjoyed what I have played, and I love the story behind 3 and those other ones, because I know enough about it, and I know enough about the history to talk about it. I'm definitely a newer fan to that. I'm by no means an original fan of Far Cry, but it's something I enjoy. The game, The Finals, is such a fun shooter. It's the only shooter game that I could ever go pro at, I've always said. I really enjoy that one. Also, another game I love, Kerbal Space Program. Love Kerbal Space Program. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. I've been researching a content video because there was going to be a story in it. However, it was cut, and I don't know. It's something I love so much. I've spent countless hours on that game. Like, for reference, I had the game so long ago that it's a download directly from their website. It's not from Steam. So yeah, those are some other games and series that I enjoy. Another question I got was your favorite movie or TV series. Movies, I love Jurassic Park. I love Spielberg in general. That's such a basic take, but you can't go wrong with him. I love the Planet of the Apes movies. I've briefly talked about them. I would love, when they do the sequel to Kingdom, to talk about the lore of that world, because the novels expand on so much and so many characters. The way the virus spread and the different human civilizations in Dawn and War are just so interesting to me. It's such a great series, and incredible visuals, incredible acting. There's nothing you can hate on about this series. They're all good. Even the worst one is still leagues ahead of your average action movie. Of course, Star Wars, that's a fun one. I just haven't really dabbled in it because there haven't really been any major releases that I can talk about. And that's the thing with movies, is I can never pick out a favorite movie because it changes for me. It depends on my mood. I liked the Elvis movie when it came out. It's not my favorite movie ever, but for a time I was really focused on that movie and the camera work and learning about it. And it was good, but it's not one of my favorites. It was my favorite for a time, and that's why with movies I can't really pick a favorite, because I liked Interstellar, but I also loved the Barbie movie and all those things, so it's kind of up in the air for me. about what is like my favorite. In terms of TV shows I like, I've been watching The X-Files, which I like. I've been watching Twin Peaks. My all-time favorite TV show ever, like you ask me what my favorite TV show is, there's no question in my mind. It is For All Mankind. For All Mankind, for those who don't know, is an alternate history space show about what if the Soviets landed on the moon first. And it is basically historical fiction. There's a lot of amalgamations of real people to, you know, condense things, and it's not 100% accurate to what probably would have happened, but it's such a great, well-written character drama set in this interesting period. Each season is about 10 years apart. So you start off in the 70s, season 2 is in the 80s, 3's in the 90s, etc., etc. You get to see so many different outcomes to real-world events. You get to see the butterfly effect, but that's just the set dressing, because at the end of the day, it's the characters that you care about so much, and you get to see them grow over the years and years. And even though there's time jumps, you never feel like a character has changed for no reason, but you also never feel like a character has frozen. My favorite character in the show is Ed. On my Instagram, I put up one of those question things because I was bored. One of them was like, what's a character in a show that you relate to the most? And for me, it's hands down, it is Ed from For All Mankind, because he's a character that I can really identify with in so many different ways. And the way he's grown and the journey he's gone on is one that I really feel for and I can relate to in certain aspects. And the best way I can describe it is between each season, it's like coming back to see old friends. Things change over time, but they're still the same people at their core, but you also see how they change. It's just an incredible show. I love it so, so much. I want to make videos on it. I just don't know if they would perform well. I'm thinking around the time that the hype around Reunion dies down and season 5 of For All Mankind comes out, I can try to make some videos and jump on that. I just don't know. I would really want to, though. Okay, enough rambling about For All Mankind. Great show. Please watch it if you can. I cannot recommend it enough. What kind of music do you listen to, and do you play any instruments? I do not play any instruments, but I can sing decently. I was like in choir in high school. I did theater stuff and acting, as I've kind of alluded to, but I cannot play an instrument. Music I listen to, it sounds silly, but it's like a mix of everything. Of course, Fallout has influenced me to listen to oldies, like Bing Crosby, Nat King Cole, all those guys. I love that music, but I also love a lot of indie artists. Tender Buttons is a great example. They are fantastic. Hannah Tell's music is really good, and it's a shame that her top song is just a cover of Obstacles, because her original songs are really, really good. The trouble is, I listen to music in an odd way, because what happens is I'll find 1 or 2 songs that I love, and I will just listen to them on rotation for like a month, and then I'll move on and I'll find a new song. So I don't listen to music in the way most people do, but hey, I know what I like. Any fun experiences with acting or theater, that kind of thing? Like I said, I was a background actor in a show back when I first started this channel. You can see because my hair was so long. It was a sequence set during the Civil War. If you look hard enough, somewhere you can find it. My profile is like front and center in the first shot of that season, but I'm not like a named character on it. I'm not a main character. Other than that, I've worked behind the scenes on some smaller films. It's something I love to do. I love movies. I love working on movies and writing and things like that. I think that's some fun stuff that I've done. This final question is a little bit of a longer one. In the case of your dream world online, what type of growth would you say you'd like to see yourself achieve as a content creator? And what would that growth look like? It really comes down to opportunity. So for me, I have always been taught, and the experience I've always had is to keep your options open and to have a plan, but to be willing to divert or change or course correct or whatever it is you need to do in order to find success and in order to be happy. So even before this YouTube channel, I had plans for what I wanted to do, what I wanted to be, things like that, that didn't account for it. I didn't know I would get this wonderful opportunity to talk about video games and lore and content and writing and movies and all these things that I love so much, and be able to talk about them and have an audience who wants to hear me talk about them. It was never a calculated thing. It just happened. And so now that I have the opportunity, I would love to, in a perfect world, I would love to continue to build the channel. I would love to put more production value into my videos. With my No I'm Not a Human video, I had like a skit in it. I have a whole script written for a video that involves a much more complicated, like actually filmed and acted skit that kind of frames the breakdown of this series in it. So that's what I want to do. I want to provide more higher and higher quality content for you guys on a consistent basis. And the reason I say in a perfect world is because I don't really know what will come next. And that is it for the Q&A. So that is a very odd video, spending like 30 or 40 minutes talking about myself. Just very different from what I normally do. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope I answered some of your burning questions. Thank you guys again so much for just the community you guys have built. I just love that I can put something out into the world and you guys actually want to see it, and that I become part of your routine. I see the comments talking about, you know, I watch you when I do my laundry or things like that. It means the world to me that you guys have given me this opportunity to make videos, to talk about my interests, and that you guys listen. It's just something that I'm so thankful for. I can't express just how thankful I am for every single one of you who decide to spend your precious time listening to me ramble about video games and movies and things I care about. So yeah, just thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate every single one of you. So I hope you have a good morning or evening or, you know, whatever.